for parents who are unable to attend to watch. Ms. Sutton, could you go to the next slide, please? So tonight's meeting is designed for junior parents, parents of 11th graders. I do want to say that if you attended the 9th grade meeting last week, you actually will see a lot of the same stuff. But I do want to share with you a little bit about how this meeting is going to work. It is a Zoom webinar, and that means that there are panelists that will be speaking, but we will not take questions, and we're not able to engage in the chat or see people raise their hand or any of those other functions you might have seen on previous meetings. We will be recording it again and putting it online, and the meeting will end no later than 8 o'clock, and that is due to the capacity that we have here on this setting. So just wanted to share that about tonight's meeting. So my name is Shelton Mooney. I am the principal at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School, and I am very, very proud to be here in this position. This is beginning my first full year, but many of you probably know that I spent last year as the acting principal from September 10th, almost exactly a year ago, and learned a lot, and I'm very excited about the work we're going to do. I do want to share just kind of a sigh of relief, and some of you may not feel that, but making it through the first 2 days of the school year and actually having students in classes and being able to log on and Zoom not crashing every time we turn around felt like a big success for us. Yesterday we were able to kind of implement a technology solution problem. And I just want to share the numbers. We dealt with 157 students yesterday morning, early in the morning, who either had issues logging in or issues with Zoom or MyMCPS Classroom, and we were able to resolve all of those problems and issues that students were having by noon. This morning, we only had 8 students who had any issues that they reported to us. So we feel good about where we're headed, and we will continue to work on that. I do want to share a couple of themes. I'll get to this in a second, but the themes that we're going to have this year at BCC, and it's actually the themes that we set for our staff, but they're actually themes that are going to be important for us not only to have as staff members, but also as parents and students. And we really had 3 that we want to practice being flexible, which I think that everything we have going on is going to throw that at us. We want to be collaborative, and we want to be caring. So those are the things that we are going to focus on this year and make sure that we are providing to your children and that we are providing to each other and also to you. I know as a parent, and the other people who are going to join us on the call in a second, you'll see that slide. As parents all know that this is not easy, and there are quite a few challenges that we're all facing. So we're gonna work through this and make it the best that we can. So we do have several people joining us on this presentation tonight. So again, my name is Shelton Mooney. I am the principal at BCC. Miss Rebecca Sutton is the assistant school administrator and is the 11th grade administrator. Miss Lyric Winnick is the PTSA president, and she is going to speak briefly about the PTSA. Mr. Matt Gandel is the president of the Bethesda Chevy Chase High School Educational Foundation. And not on this slide, but we did also have Miss Allie Anderson, who is actually the class sponsor. She's a math teacher at BCC. Tonight, we're going to cover a variety of topics. First, we're going to hear from, again, the PTSA and the Educational Foundation. We're going to review some updates for the fall, some information that was shared and that is going on. Talk about the schedule. Share the expectations that we set at BCC for student engagement. Also, we're going to talk about special education 504, the technology and materials that we've given. We're also going to share a little bit more about what the rest of this week looks like. Talk about some student supports and extracurricular activities, and then at the end, we'll just kind of remind you about when back to school night is. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Winnick, who's going to share a little bit about the PTSA.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mooney. Thank you all for having worked so hard the last couple of days to get us up and running. And I am this year's president of the BCC High School PTSA. Welcome to everybody. I will keep this expedited because I know you want to hear back from Dr. Mooney. So we can go to the next slide. What is the PTSA? Well, this year we're playing a very different role in virtual school. We will still have many of our same programming. We will have BCC Cares to help our families in need. I truly hope we can ask for your support on that. We also are going to be a primary funder for student clubs and activities because the giant bonus money and other grocery store money has gone away. So we need to fill that hole at the school. In terms of junior families, one of the most important roles that we fulfill is our college advisory committee, and that they coordinate all kinds of presentations, activities, essay writing support, SAT and ACT support. They really are a phenomenal asset throughout the entire college process. I hope that you will look for their emails and join their programming because it is truly outstanding. We will be offering a lot through Pure Parents, including some online stress relief and relaxation for both student groups and some parent groups as well for free. So if you've had too much, we're going to help you take a deep breath. We have obviously our Health and Wellness Diversity Parents Council, and of course we also provide grants for each of the departments at the school to help cover their needs. But the most important thing I'm going to ask you to do is on the next slide, which is to please, if you are not already on it, join the BCC listserv. I know you probably felt like you were getting carpet bombed yesterday with the number of emails, but I promise you, this is going to be vital this year for communication. It is how you are going to know about college events. It is how you're going to know about sports teams. It's how you're going to know about tech support if something goes wrong with Zoom, which is what we did yesterday. So please join. It is the most worthwhile listserv you can join of all the school listservs. I say that having been a parent at, now this is my 4th MCPS school. We really do want you. The second thing that we would like you to do is you will be getting information on verifying your directory with A to Z. That probably seems like a very long time ago and not that interesting, but again, for this communication situation, we really do appreciate having your correct information. The A to Z directory is how the senior class car parade took place last year. The parents reached out to every senior listed in that directory. It's really helpful. I encourage you to do that. And finally, the one other thing that I would like to say is we want your feedback. We would love your participation, but most of all, we would also like your feedback. What's working, what's not, what are your concerns, what are your needs? We're all parent volunteers. We're all going through this together, and we want to be there for you, support you, and help you so that we can together build a better BCC community for parents, teachers, students, staff, and basically everybody. So we welcome you and we thank you, and thank you for being here tonight. And we are also this year working very closely with Matt at the foundation, with the SGA, the student government, and the athletics boosters, that this is really a time for all of us to come together, and we very much hope that you will join us in that and support us and support our school. We're just so impressed with how everybody's come together these last 2 days, and we know that that can set the tone for the entire year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Winnick. And now we are going to hear from Mr. Gandel with the Educational Foundation.
Thanks, Dr. Mooney, and nice to follow Lyric. Great leadership already on the PTSA. And yes, we are collaborating with the PTSA. We did last year, we will this year. It's a year of flexibility, as Dr. Mooney said. And I do want to also thank Dr. Mooney for his leadership last year in his interim role. We're really excited, Dr. Mooney, to have you in your permanent role. And what a year to be jumping in with us. So we're ready to go. Just a quick reminder about the foundation. about me, my daughter happens to be a junior this year, so I'm part of this 11th grade parent group. I had 2 sons that graduated prior to that, and I'm also an alum of BCC myself. And all those reasons why I'm proud to be the president of the Educational Foundation. We've been around for about 25 years, and as a volunteer nonprofit organization at the school. And our mission is to try to make sure that every student at BCC has the support and the opportunity that he or she needs to be successful, to graduate, and to go on and have a really productive, fulfilling life and career. And we're all proud of the work we've done over that period of time. In a typical year, we're giving $200,000 in grants approximately to the school for a variety of innovative programs that Montgomery County Public Schools doesn't provide funding for. Most of them are academic supports. Just to give you a feel, we invest a significant amount of money each summer in summer enrichment programs for students, some coming out of Westland and Silver Creek into BCC to help them get a running start on the freshman year, and others are for students who are already at BCC in a variety of areas and needs. We fund a program called TAP, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, and I hope you'll hear more about tonight. That is an open academic support program that BCC teachers are available in a typical year to provide in-person support after school in all the core subjects. That's fully funded by the foundation each year. And this year we're working hard with Dr. Mooney and his team to make sure that that could be provided virtually, which I think is going to be really, really important given the challenges in online instruction and virtual engagement of the students. So I'm looking forward to hearing how that will play out over the course of the year. And then the third program I want to mention is called College Tracks. And that's a program that we fund. We provide about $65,000 a year. That program helps hundreds of BCC students who are first generation college going students get the support they need to apply, get financial aid, and ultimately make it successfully into the college of their choice. And I want to flag that program because right now a lot of those students are vulnerable. Nationally, the data is pretty stark in terms of first generation college students changing their college plans, and many turning out not ending up going to college because of the pandemic. We want to make sure that students at BCC have every single possible support and encouragement to make sure that they continue on to post-secondary education after high school, because we know that is the ticket to a successful career in the new economy. So we're working very flexibly with College Tracks. We front-loaded all their funding earlier this summer so they could start building a virtual program for BCC students, and we're really hopeful that it will pay off. The last thing I want to mention is we do have a professional development fund that Dr. Mooney can use each year to provide extra training and resources to his teachers. And that is really important this year with the virtual instruction that everybody is learning how to do. And we're also very excited to help in any way we can with training and support around race and equity issues. This is something that we're deeply committed to at the foundation. This year will be different. We're prepared to be flexible. As I said earlier, one of our top priorities is making sure that the opportunity and achievement gap continues to narrow at BCC, even in this environment that we're in. And it's especially important that we're flexible and we lean in on that. We want to provide funds, and we do have funds available for teachers and administrators and even students at the school if there are innovative programs or needs that the county is not providing. We'd like to be approached. We have resources and we're interested in and really hopeful we can continue to encourage innovation even in this environment. And then last but not least, as I mentioned, we believe diversity is our strength at BCC, and we're looking for new and innovative ways to encourage and support honoring diversity at the school and really dealing with the racial and equity issues that have come to the fore nationally, and that frankly are very courageous young men and women at the school have raised on their own starting this summer. To get in touch with us, I'd really encourage everyone to send us an email. We put out, not quite as frequently as the PTSA, but periodically we put out updates on key programs and resources that are available for your students. If you send an email with your student name and grade to the address on the screen, we will put you on our list, and periodically we'll send information. Two things I want to highlight that are coming soon, probably later this month. A webinar on the TAP academic support program and how that will be run and made available to students in the virtual environment. So if you send us your email, we'll put you on that list. And also in partnership with the College Advisory Committee of the PTSA, we plan to do one or more webinars on college prep in a virtual environment and in the COVID environment. We know that's on everybody's minds as we head into our junior year with our students. And last but not least, you see our website address. The money we raise for the school comes from the community. It comes from parents. So we're always eager to have donations to help support the good work we do for the students and teachers at BCC. So thanks again. Looking forward to a productive year of problem solving and flexibility. Back to you, Dr. Mooney.
Thank you, Mr. Gandel, and thank you also, Ms. Winnick. I do want to emphasize really how important the work that both the PTSA and the foundation are to how we are able to be successful at students at BCC and meet the needs of our students too. The support that they provide and the manpower that they provide a lot of times have really allowed us to operate smoothly. An example of that is during our book distribution last week, where we had a lot of volunteers helping us make that run as smoothly as it possibly could. So at this point, we're going to transition to talking about a lot of the educational information for the fall. And I'm actually going to turn this over to Ms. Sutton, who is going to share information about some of the programmatic changes from an MCPS point of view, and also talk about how we're applying those locally at BCC and work through that. So Ms. Sutton, it is yours now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mooney. So I'm going to begin by sharing a little bit about the response to Governor Hogan's message from 8/27. We wanted to add this in because the first parent meeting for freshmen parents actually was about an hour after the announcement. So we wanted to make sure, because there have been a lot of questions that have come up since, to share this again. I hope you've all seen it by now, but I want to highlight that MCPS, it says will, but has now begun the school year in a virtual only instruction model. And we're just asking at the county level, just allow us time to thoughtfully assess how our online learning goes and how things continue to develop as we prepare for the start of the school year, as we really get into the school year. And know that MCPS leadership will be actively working with community or county officials and following health guidelines to make changes as needed accordingly. But for now, we're going to move forward with the virtual only instructional model. A little bit about our guiding principles from Reimagine, Reopen, and Recover. I wanted to highlight that our priorities right now are to ensure the safety and wellness of students, to provide a robust and dynamic virtual learning experience for the first semester, to provide equity and ensure that all means all, to optimize use of resources, and to have community and stakeholder engagement in the plan development. So a little bit about grading and reporting from the plan. We are trying to provide a combination of live, high-quality learning experiences, the synchronous instruction, with the asynchronous instruction. MCPS is returning to a letter grade system for the quarter and semester grades. As you will recall, last spring, for third quarter, we stuck with the traditional grading model because we were in school for the majority of the time. As we were kind of in crisis management mode for fourth quarter, and it was less consistent than it is now, all students received either a pass or an incomplete for fourth quarter, and then their final grade was either a pass or incomplete, or one letter grade higher than what they received third quarter. That was just for the spring. Students will now go back to earning letter grades based on their engagement and performance in their classes. Teachers will be administering classroom, external, and district assessments to students virtually. The grading categories, assignment weights, common assessments, all of that will be returning to those expectations prior to March 2020. Students may be expected to complete asynchronous learning experiences and independent work between class meetings. Students may expect to spend up to 30 to 45 minutes per day of independent work, which is not that different from the school year when students often spent that time doing homework assignments and studying for assessments. As parents, you should expect to see in your students' grades 1 graded assignment per week in courses, and know that electives may function differently from core academic classes. What we have here is our typical BCC weekly schedule. Know that it will be a little bit different on the weeks where we have half days or we don't have school on a certain day, but this is a typical weekly schedule. All high schools in MCPS must follow the same schedule. We are not able to shift what periods or what days. Students will follow an 8-period schedule, and for us, because our structure did not have an 8th period built in, I know that that was something that caused some confusion. We are using our 8th period as our Barren time, which was something, it was a support we had typically built into our scheduling. We would offer a slightly different schedule certain weeks throughout the quarter to allow students to have Barren time added on to certain classes. So we'll be using that time to allow for that, since we are not able to deviate from the period 1 is from 9 to 10, period 2 is from 10:15 to 11:15. So you'll notice that Barren time is on the schedule in a few different places. Classes will meet for live instruction twice a week for 60 minutes. And the schedule will include times for TAP, High School Plus, advisory, and teacher planning. It's all kind of built in there. I do want to take a minute, just because I know I didn't have a slide specifically on it, but have TAP here, as Mr. Gandel mentioned. We would love, once we finalize the details for TAP, we would love for as many students as possible to participate in TAP. It truly is a unique opportunity that BCC is able to provide thanks to the support of the foundation, where we have licensed teachers providing academic support for students. We have students during the typical school year who will come every single day just to have someone available if they have a question. They like to get their work done knowing that someone is there. And we have students who will come just when they're working on specific projects, or they show up the day before there's a test just for that extra study help. They can use it in whatever way benefits them, but it really is a great help for students. You don't see that kind of support where you're guaranteed an hour with a licensed teacher beyond the regular day anywhere else in the county. And it's a great opportunity. I hope our students will be able to take advantage of that virtually. We hope it will be a really great support even in a virtual setting. So a little bit more about Barren time. As I mentioned, it will be used for academic support. We will be using it for link crew activities, which Dr. Mooney kind of, and also Mr. Gandel touched on a little bit, as a program we have for our freshmen, and we have seniors involved as link crew members. So our juniors will not be as involved in that, but they will know about it. Students will be able to do their IB middle years program work in their 10th grade year. We'll have club meetings during that time, social emotional learning lessons, community building, and we'll be able to, with that built into the structure, use it to meet any of the needs that come up throughout the year for our community. Moving on to the structure of a typical Zoom lesson. Again, this is a typical structure. Just like in an in-person school, you would see some days that look pretty much like you would expect, and other days you come in and the room is set completely different for a crazy group activity. This is typical, but it could be different. If you happen to pop in the room, you may see that it looks a little different from class to class and content to content. Typically, there will be a little bit of a welcome and warm up that allows time to review norms, make sure everybody is set and in the room. 5 minutes of framing the lesson, 20 to 25 minutes of direct instruction. That's usually where it's the teacher in front of the whole class. And then about 20 minutes of either student breakout or off-screen time. That may be students working in small groups through breakouts, or it could be that everybody just kind of has their cameras off and they stay in the Zoom and they're all working on their own thing, and they can raise their hand to get the teacher's attention when they need support, just like if they were in the class working and the teacher was circulating around the room. And then the last 5 to 10 minutes are usually closure, to bring closure to the lesson content and get a sense of how they're doing at the end of the lesson to plan further instruction. Student engagement is critical and important during this time. Student attendance is expected, but attendance may not be the same for all students. We encourage whenever possible for the students to attend all live Zoom sessions, but we do know and acknowledge that different family situations and dynamics during COVID may not allow a student to make every single session, which is why we do post them for 72 hours after the class so that students can still engage, they can attend and participate virtually without being present. But again, the best way to be engaged is to be present for as many in-person Zoom sessions as possible. So on there, you have a little bit about what you can expect from teachers. I'd like to draw special attention to what the students will do to show engagement and make sure that you're having conversations with your 11th graders about how they can actively engage in their classes. Daily attendance will be taken in all classes, and that will be for either attending the live Zoom session, or if you know in advance that your child will not be able to attend a session and will be watching later that night, please email the teacher and let them know so you don't get a call that your child was absent. They'll still mark it as absent, but that way you won't get the call. A little bit about special education services and 504 plans. As we did in the spring, student services, they have their IEPs and their 504s, but there will now be an individual distance learning plan written as it was in the spring that aligns each student's IEP or 504 with the virtual learning model. It describes the delivery of those services in this distance format. Students should expect to receive core instruction according to the standards of the curriculum. They will have support with learning from special education teachers and paraeducators in a variety of ways. Intervention support will be both small group and one-on-one settings, and they will still receive related services like speech, physical, and occupational therapies. For students with 504 plans, they will again have the written individual distance learning plan. That information will be shared with all teachers. Our counselors are already getting started on that. And counselors will continue to hold screening and annual review meetings for 504 plans virtually until we return to school. Same thing for special education. All annual reviews will continue virtually until we are able to return in person. So a little bit about opening week. We are now through our first full A day and B day. Tomorrow, September 2nd, is our first Wednesday, typical Wednesday. This will be live check-ins, rotating through each class. If you look back at the schedule, starting at 10:05 a.m. and then students will be able to check in at each of their classes. They will do this in the same way that they have been. So hopefully all of your students have been able to get on. They can log into their MyMCPS classroom, also known as Canvas. You'll hear those two interchangeably. They'll be able to go to the tile on the dashboard and then using each period, click on the correct Zoom link. If your child does not know their login information and you haven't gotten it yet, please email Miss Patricia McCain, who's on the website. If you don't remember any of the people we tell you to email, please try to remember me, Miss Sutton, and I will get you to the right person. But as your grade level administrator, I'm happy to get you to the right place. I just want to make sure every student can connect and engage. If a schedule tile is missing or does not have a link, we do have a troubleshooting link on the BCC homepage. It's right towards the top, and then there's a form that you fill out to describe what type of problem you're having, and we have a team of people that's triaging that. As Dr. Mooney mentioned, we had a whole lot of those requests yesterday and only 8 this morning, so it seems like students are able to connect better. But should things pop up or questions arise, please let us know. And moving forward, Thursday we'll be back to a typical A day, and Friday we'll be back to a B day. A little bit more about technology support. All students need a device to support online or virtual learning throughout the first semester. Students will need this device to log on to their MyMCPS or Canvas classroom. I do want to say that if your child spent today and yesterday using a phone for this, please contact me. I know some students are a little stubborn about that, but they really need a Chromebook to connect. The phone is just not the same and does not have the same capabilities as a Chromebook for engaging in the instruction. If you have been assigned an MCPS Chromebook or MiFi device, continue using this device. We did do a distribution last week, the 25th through the 28th. Any students or families who have gotten a Chromebook, will be assigned an obligation for that. And then when the device is returned, the obligation will go away. That's just a way of keeping track of who has what device. Technology that was not picked up prior to the start of the school will remain at BCC for pickup at a later date. We do have a limited supply of MiFi devices in the county, so they are being given out at 45 West Goody Drive in Rockville. Again, if you have a question about that, you forget after this presentation, you can email me. And you can also email me or your counselor for your child with any technology requests or questions. If you are having like a technical difficulty, please call the support number on the screen, 240-740-7022. I'm going to recommend if you have your phone nearby, you may want to type that one in and save it as a contact, just because we never know what's going to happen over the course of this year, and I'd hate for you to have a technical issue and then be scrambling to find the number trying to get your child in. So that number again for MCPS technical support is 240-740-7022. If you don't get a chance to type that in before this slide goes away, you can email me and I will give you that number, but definitely save it in your phone. Little bit about materials distribution. We did do the distribution last week. If you were not able to come, we will have additional pickup dates announced shortly. We are trying to get through this first week here right now, but we will be announcing shortly the additional pickup dates. Even though this is an 11th grade meeting, I did want to say that 9th graders, in case any of you have students also in 9th grade and couldn't make the last meeting, 9th grade students did not receive any textbooks. Their materials will all be electronic at this time. Grades 10 through 12, students may or may not have instructional materials based on the course. So Dr. Mooney did send out in one of his community messages a list of what courses have books. Please note though that some students were not able to come to pick up their materials. And also we did run out of books because many of them were not returned when we did the materials return over the summer, and we got them back last week. So we are now sorting and we will have those ready for the next material pickup if your child is missing a specific book. Teachers have been notified that not all students have their materials. Don't worry, we have the time. We will get everybody there. And now I'm going to pass it briefly over to Ms. Anderson about the class of 2022 SGA.
Thank you, Ms. Sutton. I'm Allie Anderson. I'm a math teacher at BCC, as well as the junior class SGA sponsor. So on this screen, you will see great ways for both parents and students to reach the class of 2022 SGA and to stay in touch with us. I encourage you to take a picture of this slide, and please encourage your students to follow these accounts to get the latest updates. If you have any specific questions about a school-wide or class event or activity that is happening, please feel free to reach out to me personally. Looking forward to a great year doing this virtually. Thank you, Ms. Hutton.
Thank you very much, Ms. Anderson. And so transitioning off of that into a little bit about extracurricular activities and athletics. In this fall, the fall season will actually consist of 3 virtual seasons for athletics. The fall season will be September 14th to October 16th. The winter season will be October 26th to December 4th. And the spring season will be December 14th through January 22nd. No students will be cut. Everyone who is interested will have an opportunity to see what it's like to be on a high school sports team. Even though this is virtual, physicals are still required. Each week, coaches will focus on one of our RAISE core values. RAISE being R, respect and sportsmanship. A, academic excellence. I, integrity and character. S, spirited and safe competition. E, equity and access. As 11th graders, juniors, class of 2022, these are the counseling assignments. If you have any questions about your child's schedule, about any social, emotional, mental health support, questions about a 504 plan, your counselor is your case manager. These are the people to go to. Please note that Mr. Gordon is out on leave right now, and we will have information about a long-term sub for Mr. Gordon shortly. And to wrap our meeting up, and we're actually way faster than I expected. I do want to bring everyone's attention to Thursday, September 10th. That's coming up next week, beginning at 6 p.m. That will be our virtual back to school night. So again, it's Thursday, September 10th, beginning at 6 p.m. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Thank Dr. Mooney for hosting us. Thank Ms. Winnick and Mr. Gandel and Ms. Anderson for joining us as well to share information. And with that, we're going to end our meeting for tonight. We will be posting this recording on the website later if you need to go back to anything, or for any parents who were not able to attend. And again, I am Ms. Sutton. If you have any questions at all and you can't remember where to go, please try to remember Ms. Sutton and email me. Thank you very much and have a great evening and a great virtual school year.
Thank you all, everyone. Have a great evening.